comeback. They say pressure bust pipes, so what's the win without a comeback? So what's the win without a comeback? Hustling every day to win, now you're winning to the comeback.
See the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it. You see the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it. Now you should know though, I'm after moto. I gotta get it. I might be solo. Oh, out with FOMO. You know I'm with it. But if I'm dolo, I'm still gon' want those. A real one. Because it's YOLO. Because it's YOLO. You live once. How about that paper we all shine? 7 days a week, it's no debate that we all grind. You see them haters be on mine, talking about your boy like he the greatest of all time. If you flown it, then you should know that I want it. I be on it, I be ballin' all through the night till the morning. Want some money, you should see me move. I see it, dog. Cause I go hard in everything I do. Not be a child. Chin checking competition, checking on my position. And no one mind is missing when we talking about my commission. Yes. If you ain't hear me, then stop and listen. Cause no one mind is missing when we talking about my commission. See the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it. You see the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it. Your team's only strong as your leader is. That's why my team just know I'll never leave it this. Pockets get fatter and fatter. In fact, I need it this. I'm getting money, it don't matter what the season is. And your girl love it, cause she know I be stuntin'. She see just how I does it. She know I ain't frontin', I got the streets bustin'. Hey, you ain't got nothing, you gotta at least come in with the need to be something, man. Listen, ambition's a part of my plan, mission, transition, cash rich and getting some more additions. That's why they tryna get me and come in my neck. Just know my team is with me and come to protect. Checking competition, checking on my position. And no one mind is missing when we talking about my commission. If you ain't hear me, then stop and listen. Cause no one mind is missing when we talking about my commission. See the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it. You see the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it.
business on my mind. They look so pretty when they're scared, caught slipping, they're so unaware. I just kill the enemy, kill the lies, kill the bad in me, it's a lie, killing all the noise in my mind, heavy and hot, revenge, it looks nice. Kill the enemy, kill the lies, kill the bad in me, it's a lie, ripping red flags, wave 'em wide, wave 'em wide. Knock, knock, open up, I don't bite, just me going bump in the night. Sleep well, don't close your eyes, don't close your eyes. Misery loves company and it's your turn. May the doubts last, I'll finish it first. Lights out, lights out. They look so pretty when they're scared, caught slipping, they're so unaware. I just kill the enemy, kill the lies, kill the bad in me, it's a lie, killing all the noise in my mind, heavy and hot, revenge, it looks nice. Kill the enemy, kill the lies, kill the bad in me, it's a lie, ripping red flags, wave 'em wide, wave 'em wide. Heavy and hot, revenge, it looks nice. Wave 'em wide. Don't stop now. Girl, you headed to the top now. Imagine rolling with the top down. All the haters wanna chill cause you hot now. Smile and say not now. Yeah, where my queen's at. It's us again like a rematch. Grab your girls, don't detach. We the winning ticket, you just need to scratch. Such a lady, and you honest. You be killing them with kindness. Giving younger ones some guidance. And your grades stay on honest. You should be proud of yourself. Go and smile at yourself. Chin up, chest high, get up, get fly. You so special, you so special. Boom, boom, my sister the coldest. Youngest the oldest, heart so golden. Rolling deep as an ocean. Belly gets swole, creating life we chosen. May have been cracked, never been broken, never been stagnant, always in motion. Can't do folding, the women have soul. We make the world go round. To all the girls in the world, I hope you know you on your way up. Yeah, you got it, you got it. To all the girls in the world, keep shining on your way up. Yeah, you got it, you got it. To all the girls in the world, I hope you know you on your way up. Yeah, you got it, you got it. To all the girls in the world, keep shining on your way up. Yeah, you got it, you got it. To all my girls, listen up. You can be anything you want. You can be a doctor, you can be a pilot. You can plan parties, make sure I'm invited. Just work real hard at your job. If you go to school, graduate on top. To my stay-at-home moms or business owners, you the bomb. Life ain't perfect, but it's yours. That makes it worth it even more. You gotta love yourself, of course. Look in the mirror, then applaud. All good days ain't promised, but smile through the problems. You fly regardless, confidence don't leave without it. Boom, boom, my sister the coldest, youngest the oldest, heart so golden, rolling deep as an ocean. Belly gets swollen, creating life we chosen. May have been cracked, never been broken, never been stagnant, always in motion. Can't do folding, women have spoken. We make the world go round. To all the girls in the world, I hope you know you on your way up. Yeah, you got it, you got it. To all the girls in the world, keep shining on your way up. Yeah, you got it, you got it. To all the girls in the world, I hope you know you on your way up. Yeah, you got it, you got it. To all the girls in the world, keep shining on your way up. Yeah, you got it, you got it. Now I need all my girls to clap and repeat after me.
little different on the spine. This is it, Tony Hawk, I'm getting on my grind. It's all in the mind, I don't even need a sign. Come back, get applying pressure from behind. I ain't got no enemies, turn them all to allies. Face painted, no cat eyes, ship never been capsized. My rationale different cause I made it. No street sweeper, I just gallop off the pavement. Money made weather, yo, I came in trying to be the greatest. Not the only, but the latest. Had to keep it like the cadence. If the planet hit it, save it. I'll be in the conversation. It's amazing how the plan come together like a compilation. If they counting on me, then I hate to keep them waiting. Let's go. I backs to the wall, but they counting on me. They waiting for the fall, but the parachute's free. Could be playing from behind or aggressive with the lead. You can count on me, and I promise I'm the only one you need. Let's go. Yo, the crown feel heavy when you wear it. I don't do it for acknowledgement, I guess it's just a merit. They still trying to copy me.
As well as Sawadee to all our viewers over in Thailand and Vietnam. Yes, you guessed it right. We have two teams for Thailand and Vietnam going head-to-head tonight at the ESL Clash of Nations with me, Tash Buddy, alongside Dax.
I can't believe you took my line. I was supposed to say the Taiwan. I put in the research, Tash. I was looking for it. And I mean, in Malaysia, Singapore, just say hello too. So hello guys, we are back after an extended break, and as Tash has mentioned, we're moving regions. So we're still here in SEA though, but this time around, yeah, Thailand, Vietnam, and that's exactly the matchup we're gonna get. I think really this has to be the marquee matchup of the night. But before we get into that, let's just remind you guys of the format real quick, because let's not forget, this is still part of the SEA qualifier. For SEA, you got MYSG that's done last week, IDPH, which was finished just a while ago, Thailand, Vietnam, which is now, and Hong Kong, Taiwan for next week. 4 out of the 8 teams for the playoffs on this December have already been chosen. We still are looking for 4 more to go this month. Let's not forget, $6,000 per region is the prize pool on the line. These teams, they're fighting for glory, and they're fighting truly to represent and to show that their nation is the best of the best, especially here in SEA, Tash.
Yeah, the prize pool that you mentioned, whoo, bucket load of money, especially for us in SEA USD, baby.
Ooh.
As we have a total prize pool of $18,000 with $6,000 pool per region, which means the first place from this tournament will be going home with $3,000 $1,500 each for second and third place, and $500 for fourth place. Now, Dax, you asked me before what I would do with $3,000. What would you do with $3,000?
Visit Singapore and Malaysia and see you and Teddy, our producer. That's what I would do. I would just go like that and be like, hello ESL, hello Tash, and maybe we could we can do that on site.
Oh yeah, that'll be so fun. Casting on site,
Always
physical
fun.
high fives, absolutely insane. Just like how these players who are playing together in the same gaming house for some of the teams. But let's have a look at the bracket for now. And this is very exciting because when we saw today, as we go, we have match 5 coming in with Fancy United Esports, one of the most favorite teams we've seen here in APAC, versus Myth, and then Full Sense versus Crit Esports. This is really exciting.
So this is interesting. I kind of want to tackle a real quick Full Sense versus Crit Esports. That matchup, kind of Thailand versus Thailand. Both teams looking to become one of the guaranteed high representatives. In Full Sense, let's not forget, they have had a bit of a revamp so far because one of their players from before has moved on to Made in Thailand, and that's where we jump into Fancy United Esports versus Made in Thailand. 3rd time this year in major tournaments to meet each other, and let's show you guys what has changed in terms of those rosters. Each one, there is a glaring addition for both Fancy United as well as Made in Thailand, which has made such a big difference really here, Tash, for the series, for the teams themselves, and the identities that they're gonna have here.
I think what's really exciting after the player shuffles and rosters has just been insane. Seeing each teams maybe go into a rivalry sort of storyline, seeing each team want to go into a I have left my past, moving on into my new future, I am thriving in my new team. Also another storyline that can be done here. There's just so many different ways of saying it. Now for Crit Esports, previously we knew them as X10 Crit. Not too sure if it's the same roster since the separation of the two teams. Regardless though, if you can see, we already, Fancy United is one of those teams that I would say is a 300 IQ sort of team. They love those double or triple controller situations. They love playing it slow. And recently they came toe-to-toe with some of the best in, I think, APAC. I think it was Bleed. They did so well against them.
No, Fancy United, I'm happy to say that I think for me and for many, they have to be the team to beat in Vietnam right now. They have become one of those most unique teams here in APAC. Lately though, they have made these roster changes that slowly have put them a bit more akin to their other counterparts, but that doesn't remove how strong and how potent that they can be. Yes, they're getting a bit more standardized in terms of the composition. They used to run these double controller comps and things like Ascent out of nowhere that sometimes play like a duelist, but lately they just have refined their game. They have become potent, and when we look at Made in Thailand this time around, I think this team is always at the cusp of greatness in Thailand. They are really one of the top Thai teams. They are there within that level, just probably behind the likes of Search and whatnot. But they have those struggles during the VCT era. They have those struggles in the official circuit, and there have been some amazing victories, but also some stunning defeats that have come the way Made in Thailand. Yet again, a big change that they have done lately. We're just waiting for the roster screen so we can tackle that completely, because it really has paved a way for these two teams not only to perform well here in ESL Clash of Nations Sash, but moving forward into Ascension. I think these squads have to be teams we have to watch out for in the near future.
I think what's really exciting about Made in Thailand is the shift in their roster. Not rather a player roster is shuffled, but WannaFly now moving into the analyst role. We always saw WannaFly, one of the, I would say, most interesting Viper players to watch here over in APAC. But for now, given the fact that he's like, okay, I'm done doing 300 IQ on plays on Viper, I want to give my 300 IQ in terms of how I exactly want to play a game. I'm really curious to see what exactly is the change that comes here onto mid. What has changed, and will it actually change the game, the way they play, to bring it up to a whole another level? Now for Fancy United, they're always the kind of team that I would say they didn't really have too much of a reshuffle. They've been just playing the same way over and over, and the fact that they've refined all these 300 IQ plays, as you mentioned before, really puts a statement as to the abilities of what we saw from Fancy United.
Okay, and there we go. This is a screen we have been waiting for, because let's look at the names we have for these rosters. Made in Thailand, Alon Phil's Beta Kadum, Conquer Red Zero the Flex, but look who's in this roster right now, PTC. Of that Full Sense fame, he has joined this roster a bit recently. He played in the previous tournament that they have encountered Fancy United, and it really just goes to show when you have such a flexible player in PTC, a flexible player in Conquer Red, this is a team that can play anything they want to, and especially put out the early aggression and the era of aggression we expect from Made in Thailand.
I think for mid, they've always liked playing aggressive. I don't think that's going to be changing anytime soon. I think it's just very, very much a Thailand sort of meta, if you can see it across game changers as well as the main VCT standard. Now, when you are put in that position for, I think that this is, I would say, not really a kryptonite, but rather the perfect counter for a team like mid, Fancy United, who has previously liked to play it slow, but now they're always something, they're very flexible compared to before, where they don't have to have that situation where they like taking inches by inches. They too can play aggressive. So because of this experience, rather, of them playing two different sort of play styles on so many tournaments, we might just be seeing them kind of be able to have such a huge playbook on how exactly they want to tackle this. So now the lineup will be Nizzy, Yes I Can, Jin, Ficio, and Killers. And I have to say that Yes I Can and Ficio from throughout the entire year has been extremely, I think, would say successful when it comes to those first picks, when it comes to those 300 IQ plays, and also also when it comes to those very, very aggressive situations that require someone to step up.
I think it's really the core composition that they have there. Yes, I can Fisio and including Nizzy. These guys have been here for a while for the roster, especially in that LCQ run. But the thing to talk about here is that shining new addition for Fancy United. It always felt like for Fancy United, they would play these kind of compositions because they didn't really have the more renowned duelist, that more standard duelist. But look no further to Jin. He had a bit of a journey here in his career, Tash. He actually went to the Philippines for quite a while. He competed in VCTPH rather than VCT Vietnam for Alpha Esports Pro, and they have made waves. He was able to even outshine some of the best duelists that you can see in the PH scene, and him being added on to this roster just make sure that Fancy United has that gun to fight back against Made in Thailand. Because in this specific matchup, I look at the history, I look at the 2-1s that have gone in favor of Made in Thailand. It has been the brute force of Myth giving them that edge to outmaneuver the brains of Fancy United. And then you have this young gun, this potent gun in Jin. Well, there's so many expectations for him to perform on this day, his first time in a tournament setting, I believe, for Fancy United.
But for now, let's have a look at the map picks here. Gonna see Pearl and Icebox both banned out, Breeze and Ascent as well. So the last 3 maps will be Bind, Fracture, and Haven. This is very interesting because Bind and Fracture, very narrow maps, I would say, and it's very difficult to navigate those very, very aggressive corners. But given the fact that we've seen how aggressive Myth plays, this may just work out in their favor. But for Bind, for Fancy United, because they love the very controller-heavy situation, it gives them so much control off a site on the map. I'm curious to know how exactly they're going to be playing it out on attack. But for Haven, I think Haven is a very stable map, and in a lot of situations, a lot of teams just go for Haven for Decider because it can go any way at all.
I think I'm very interested about the picks themselves, and as we dive deeper into them, it will be Bind, Fracture, and Haven. As you mentioned, you said yourself that Haven really is that map that's kind of more standard, that's kind of the great equalizer, and I completely agree. It's pretty much a toss-up if we get there. But let's look at the first 2 maps first. Bind being picked by Fancy United Esports, one of their comfort map picks. They have been very, very strong on it all throughout the year. But the thing is, Made in Thailand has been pretty decent on it as well, playing it in the international stage, playing it in all of the VCTs, including the APAC side. So there is that hope for them to try and steal it away. What concerns me in this map pool is Fracture. Made in Thailand selects that for good reason. One of their better maps, I believe they have around a 60% win rate on it this year. And you compare it to Fancy United, who have been struggling to understand what to do on it, and they have lost twice already this year against Made in Thailand on Fracture. So Made in Thailand looking to rely on it yet again to get the edge and to get the 3rd series against them into their checkmarks, basically.
I am so excited for this matchup. We're gonna be seeing. I mean, we saw this matchup. You were just telling me that I saw this during my during my hosting and analysis over at VCT APAC LCQ. Yep, I was there, and I'm really excited to see round 2 because it's been quite a while since LCQ Champions has ended, and there's probably a lot that they learned from all these top teams here on how exactly they want to navigate through this map and how they want to play it. Now, if we see Vietnam, they're not necessarily the most aggressive when it comes to how they play in the region itself, but as they move out and move toward playing with other countries, this flexibility and a different sort of style and playbook may just show the difference on what exactly made them stand out in Vietnam compared to the rest.
Yeah, the standing out there in Vietnam, again, the stratagems that they had, really, I feel like for Vietnam, coaching is very important and being creative. But when you move into APAC, there are scenes like Thailand who are all about the executions. We remember all the way back then, X10, when they get started, they were the best ones to play that 4-1 where you had 4 people setting up for the one duelist and everyone else was playing double duelists, right? And now you have a team like Made in Thailand who have been very, very aggressive, who have been very, very hostile to any competition that come their way. This is the 3rd round. This is the 3rd encounter for them. They recently had, yet again, another tournament series wherein they faced off against each other, part of the offseason. It was 2-1. It was still close. Fancy United always there to compete, but Made in Thailand again and again getting that victory. My eyes are just again on the matchup between the new players. They don't really specifically play the same role, BTC, the ultimate flex of the Thailand scene, but Jin, come on, man. He's just been so hyped for such a good reason. I personally have witnessed him play against some of the best duelists in PH and in SEA. Plus, he did play with the Pinoy Jeje Insanity for quite a while there during that Alpha Esports run, and had moments where he was outshining his fellow teammate. So it just goes to show, for Fancy United, this might be the last bullet they need to fill up this clip. The last shot they need to add into this roster to make them go from best on Vietnam to one of the best, if not can be the best here in SCBA.
I think what's really exciting about Fancy United, if you go through their VLR page, every single map has so many agent compositions. It's really hard to pinpoint what exactly is going through their mind and how exactly they're going to be executing. There is one particular, I would say, matchup for Bind that they do use a lot, which is the Brimstone KO, Raze, as well as the Sova and Viper. And honestly, I think that for Fancy United, I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be Battle of the Controllers again. Now, for the other side, for Myth, very similar but a little bit more aggressive on how their agent compositions are, given the fact that they're choosing a Fade over a Sova.
I think this is a good point you're making here, Tash. And well, we'll be getting into the game very, very soon. Myth on the defense, Fancy United on the attacking side. I'm expecting for both teams, though, to run that double controller for a map like Bind. And there you have it. Viper, Brimstone, looking to get locked in by Myth. In the meantime, it will be the Astra and the Viper together instead for Fancy United. A little fancy stuff here. And it's interesting because the thing is, they used to run the Omen recently on this. Yeah. They used to run a Fade, and then they swapped on over to the Breach yet again. Fancy United changing it things up again and again. But for Jin, that's one of his pocket plays. Play that Raze, dominate the battlefield, and play the entry as soon as possible. Who can stop him on the other side? Well, I'm looking, honestly, besides the specific Raze matchup between Kadum, Beta, and PTC. They're on a double control, sure. They're the ones who can break that vision, and from what we've seen so far in the mid performance, they're the ones who can step up when they need to the most.
I think, for me personally, I think that Bind is a map that is specifically made for Fade. It's just so good to use the Hunt and the Nightfall. It's just so good when you actually are able to land those lineups perfectly. But I have an idea. They have a different idea on how exactly they want to navigate this. Congaret has been absolutely phenomenal on the Sky before this, but I think Congaret will be switching over. Sorry, Congaret is going on the Viper and Beta is going to be on the Sky. But Kadum, previously, we've seen him perform on the Raze and has been so phenomenal, very, very aggressive, and he's not afraid to just go in without his teammates enabling, which makes it 1,000 times even scarier.
Look, we're getting into Bind though, and we'll see how scary this competition can be. Last time though, these two teams have seen each other. It was Fancy United dominating Made in Thailand. There we have it now. Beta on the Brimstone, PTC on the Viper. So close to getting into the game. I can smell it here, Tash. But
what do you smell?
What Fancy and Myth are cooking?
What are they cooking?
A great match. A recipe for amazing Valorant. I got you. I got my basics covered.
I was so excited to hear what dish you will be dishing out.
No. It's not dinner time yet. Let's not starve ourselves before the series. This is my mindset, Tash, okay? If you're getting hungry while casting, stop thinking about food.
Oh, I mean, that's very different to what I do when I cast with Asurai.
No.
Talking about
he tries to feed you
and sisig and burgers and.
The thing is, he talks a big game, but he doesn't know how to cook. So what's the point?
Oh man, Asurai, if you're watching, that was not me. That was all Dax, man.
It's all part of the roast. It's all part of the plan, and well, we're baking a cake and looking to eat it too. We're baking a cake. We're baking a matchup, and. Just to clarify things, or so just rather to hone in before we get into the matchup, we have the Sage here. I know you've been talking about the Fade, and I believe Made in Thailand does run it from time to time, and last time against Fancy United. But they've learned a lesson. They have decided to go for the Sage pick here alongside the Raze. A lot more defensive. And look at that! Wall in the way, no entry, says MITH.
I mean, we've seen Alone Fills on Sage, and he plays a very, very nasty Sage, both on aggressive and defensive situations. Now, this wall is absolutely nasty. This is one of those walls where it gives you so much space to weave in and out, and it's a little corner where you don't expect that someone will be peeking through, which is just so a battle Sage situation there.
Yeah, and just to clarify things, I believe Wukong here is Killer S, if I remember correctly. That is one of his other names. So we'll probably weave around that name in and out as we get into the matchup. Fancy United, though, looking to start things off strong towards B side. A lot of pressure from the breach. That's the press. Does get cancelled, though. Twin fire, crossfire, Conga Red on the board. Jin, though, playing the entry and getting back to make it 4v4. But as I say, that Conga Red still holding onto the long angle. Fancy United clearing things out. The boom, but though in the way 2v2 right now. And PTC finds Yes I Can over towards that A site, I believe. Now then, MITH, Mitt has the advantage. It's up to Jin now in his debut to try and bail out the team.
Lone Fills from the other side, playing Ring Around the Rosie, just wasting time waiting for his teammates to come through. Jin is so very low right now. But here comes PTC as well. Weaving around from the backside. He's running out of time. He wants to get a backstab here.
Left.
But with 10 seconds, 8 seconds to go, what exactly can you do as a Lone Fills? Is ready for the right click, but it doesn't matter. Jin a little bit faster. He has no choice but to just find that last kill. No time. PTC's not gonna let you get away with that that easily.
No bonus money for you. It's you trying to take a little bit money more from your dad's wallet, and he catches you in the act. Still, smartly done by PTC. I'd say one of the best players you can get in the Thailand scene. One of the hottest free agents coming in from that full sense roster. And Mitt has had such a great pickup with a player of his caliber. Good decision to just hide there. Knows what Jin can do. Knows how potent he can be. I think for Fancy United, they had a good idea to clear out everything, even the angles they couldn't get beforehand. But Conga Red, he put on the hit back and put in work to hold longer there by long.
Sprays coming through as Jin immediately taking space here into U-Haul. But look at those sprays coming through Fisio, and Yes I Can get 1H. Doesn't really matter if he has the gun advantage here. Jin playing the sneaky deaky game. Double barrel in his hand. Does the shorty. Wants to get anyone running through, but he's gonna be cleared out by that Trailblazer, and Beta just rushing out onto the side. He fears absolutely nothing. Flash as well, but Kadoom finds Zizzy in return. And you can see Killer going down as Kadoom already with a 2K in that pocket, but those pain shells are just the bane in their side as Jin, final person left alive, and Kadoom just seals the deal. 3K, easy claps.
I'm just liking this matchup already because for Fancy United, I see they're a lot quicker now, having someone like Jin to play the entry despite the gun disparity, and Made in Thailand, a little bit more reserved, not rushing in, using things like the Trailblazer first, not walking into the shorty in front of the connector basically, and it allows Made in Thailand to get the job done yet again. Still, good damage though by Fancy United. They have the guns this time around. They can go for the commitment. And I'm just waiting to see how the likes of Nizzy as well as Killer S can enable Jin moving forward. How much space can Fancy United buy with their newest agent, with their newest player on the board? Let's see now as we have the gun buys.
Blinded.
Flash does get some information that someone is there. Knife in return does get destroyed. Killers waiting and biding his time. He does hear the flash come out here. Pop flash to come through. They want to push out right about now, but great call just to give up that space. Conga Red will be punished for playing a little bit too aggressive there. Regardless, that smoke will at least buy some time, but them being in front of the teleport can mean that they can switch where they want to go at any time.
Yeah, they can relocate if ever. Still, Made in Thailand looking to go for that hold with PTC all alone by A site. Fancy United. Patience play as per usual. They can't just assess if anyone's gonna push here. They know that they win in terms of that further distance because of the Spectres Made in Thailand is holding. So watching out for corners like here by the boxes on Hoka. Playing it safe and sound before anything else. That should allow them a better entry. The boom bot is there to lead the charge. The pain shells do get thrown back. And Made in Thailand slowing down what Jin can do here. He comes flying on by Beta in a strong position to get that takedown. 3v3 now, but here comes Beta yet again, mowing down everyone who comes his way. It's all left to the Viper. Fisio has to fish for that spike, has to come on back with the 1v3 and a better shot here by Made in Thailand, setting up the crossfire already. The job is even harder to do.
It's a chokehold with 3 people looking straight
10
at
seconds
it.
left.
And I think for Ficio, the best thing to do is just bring that gun to the next round. It's a little bit better economically. And as for Myth, they're not gonna just overextend, they're just gonna wait there by the spike. Safe calls from both teams.
Yes, just no contact. Let's go again. Made in Thailand. They've learned their lessons from before. Immediately, they're putting in the work. You have that Sage to add on in. And besides the wall we saw early on, the slow orbs are such a big bother. Just allows Made in Thailand to specifically still hold in a position and get the kills coming their way. Beta there, very impressive. The boom bot, that's the only thing really that Raze has to clear out those angles. As we get the Viper come again.
Why does production love Viper
Why is
so
it always
much?
Viper? It kind of freaked me out,
I
not
want to
gonna
know
lie.
like what exactly is going through. I know that she's pretty hot, but not this angle
my
though.
brain's trying to assess all the last few rounds, and then suddenly Viper.
Yeah, I mean, according to
Oh,
now
okay.
the Brimstone, we all know that Daddy Brimstone is pretty hot.
We're
We
giving
love
love
him.
to all the agents. I know
Yeah.
our producer here is a little biased towards the Viper, but hey, we got representation. We got the Brimmy. You look at him.
Brimmy with the stimmy. We
Yeah.
all love Brimmy with the stimmy.
You
But
know
for
it.
now, I'm just so curious to know what exactly Fancy is talking about. They're all about a 300 IQ plays and the executes, right? What exactly are they gonna do coming into this 3-0? I really like the fact that they're going for that early pause because it really gives an idea what exactly they need to do because they even lost their bonus.
That's the thing. Fancy United, they're just getting stopped in their tracks by Made in Thailand. So many stopgaps, so many ways to stall here from it. Raise Sage already. You know that the floor is going to be deadly. Then you add in the Brimstone plus the Viper together. There's just so many ways to block that vision and to block the progress with the Molly and the Snake Bite. Speaking of, Beta
Ooh,
already
what
getting into the
shot!
lineup of TTC. Hello, sir. What a shot indeed. Jin doesn't even see that one coming. As soon as he rounds the bend, he's already going to the next round. Here comes Kadum on the board. Fisho will
Spike
find the
down
frags
A.
for him. And at the very least, a small establishment towards this A side. Waldo preventing
Look
this
at this
Astra from coming in.
nasty angle.
We were talking about it, but yes, I can. He's able to do it with the Stinger as the Seekers do fly on by.
want to find
2v2.
it.
Cosmic Divide is there. And for Fancy United, they're buying a bit of space for them to work with here on A side.
That gravity well, so annoying to deal with. Allowing that plant to come through. Congress still very much has all his utilities, but here comes the Viper's Pit as well. 2-on-2 situation. But with the player just so very low, it's gonna be a problem here. Beta just spraying through the smoke, and all they have to do is just reposition. We do have the Stim Beacon down as well for Beta. Walls as well is up. And yes, I can from the backside. Great flank. Finds Beta. But the defuse.
He's just sticking
You
it.
hear the tap. He might be sticking it. Ficio and his teammate better think about shooting.
Oh, too late!
What a clutch!
Half
so
a second
very
too
close.
late! Half a second too late! Yes, I can! He had the angle, but he didn't have the sight line! And with Fisho having that Viper Spit still up like that! What a steal by Made in Thailand! That was a Fancy United win taken away from them here, Tash. What a play by Made in Thailand. I'm gonna just tell you real quick, the punish from Yes I Can was exceptional. The
Oh,
fact
yeah.
that he beat Alone Feels at his own game. The fact that he got that backstab towards short, that should have been the round. But suddenly, Conqueror is just like, he's not peeking me. I can just stick this. And there you go. 4-0 now.
Oh man, I think the fact that Lone Fields peaked that just got punished. But for now, Jin coming straight through, but the corner where Beta is no longer is gonna be working. Kongara gets picked out there by the showstopper Jin, just running it down through the inside of the container. Beta finds one, but Nizzy and Jin gonna find 2 more in return. PTC from the backside there, trying to take up space with those snake bites. When you're the final person standing, what can you do? And Ficio's already there, train his crosshair at you.
A bit of retribution there for Fancy United. A stellar round from Jin. And let's not forget the amazing flashes that made that happen courtesy of their breach. He went in with a showstopper, and everyone who played the corners outside of Hoka, they were absolutely blinded and could not see Jin coming. But this is what we're talking about for Fancy United. Having that raise in the roster will allow them to do plays like that, to go further and faster than they have ever been. That extra bit of speed, we saw how strong it was a while ago in the series between SUE and Dewa. Might happen yet again this time around as Fancy United look to rally.
Knife gets destroyed as well. Every single round Killers throws in that knife, it just gets broken over and over. And Conqueror very much aware and ready, but is okay with giving up that space. Gonna be using 2 different utilities. Ooh, Killer gets pulled in just now. That smoke potentially might have saved him. Sprays through just to give some space. But for now, with 3 on B, might be a little bit hard. They can teleport to A side there, but look at where exactly we see the Viper position themselves.
Yeah, a bit of a default here for Fancy United. They have given up the showers though because of the Sage's presence in the first place. So instead, most of the forces moving over to B. It's gonna be a lurk instead from our Viper for Fancy United. And the rest of the roster, 2-prong attack, 2 on long, 2 on hookah. They're just looking to see if they can actually cross on over to the other side. Marshals though from mid, not the best guns, interesting enough, as Fancy actually creeping closer and closer now with Fisher. Just being a bit sneaky here. It's Hash.
30 seconds left.
Just maybe, he can allow the side of Fancy to teleport and relocate. But look at
Oh,
PTC.
here's Kadu!
He heard that coming. PTC's waiting though, and Fancy United, they executed towards this B side instead. There we have the clear, but Beta and
what a
Conqueror
shot.
taking the takedowns that they need early on. Made in Thailand, putting in the work and putting in the kills here, Dash.
Oh man, Alone Fields with that judge doing
Spike
so much
down,
work.
B.
2 of them already knocked down.
player
Fisio from the other side.
Thrifty.
Beta! Straight to the face. What a great thrifty round for them as they finally get their first point here. Sorry, their 5th point.
What is the
Looking
story
so
for today? What is the story for today, Dash? No guns, no problem?
I'm sorry, it was already foreshadowing as soon as I said it in the previous match.
The Thrifties are just absolutely exceptional. Made in Thailand, playing that perfectly. They were ready for the teleport, if ever, courtesy of PTC. They were ready to hold that B site down. And for Fancy United, they made that call to try and force their way in. But let's not forget what mid has here in the roster. Just so many ways to separate the players from one another. You have the slopes, you have the smokes, and you have Made in Thailand getting on board again. Here we go, Fancy United. One more time, speeding through.
Oh man, Conqueror played is aggressive.
down,
He'll
B.
get 2! What a play! Kadu gets 1 more with his showstopper, finding Jin. But for now, Nizzy pushes out, finds Alone Fields in that corner. They know where exactly he likes to play at, but that Molly is being a bane their side as Fisio finds a trade onto Beta. PTC from the other side. What exactly are gonna do? Does get that Snake Bites, buy some space here, gets another one out as well. But what are you gonna do, Fisio? 1 on 3. Can you at least get a pick is the question. He's running out of toxins here.
Jumpy there from PTC. Gotta say, Fisher, sure, he's over here by elbow, but he has to cross the octagon.
My God,
the garden
Conqueror.
itself, as Conqueror is the champion of B-Long yet again. We've seen it in an earlier round. We've seen it in the last round. If you don't clear Conqueror, you're just better off dead. Made in Thailand, they have that Sky in such a powerful position. Removes a whole segment from Fancy United to utilize towards that B side. If Fancy United wants to play into B, they need to clear out B-Long as soon as possible. They need to clear out Arden, and they have to remove Conqueror from that position if they want even stand a chance to get that site.
That's why they're going toward A this time, no longer wanting to work with Conqueror. Knife out as well, not getting the information. Jin taking up space here, gonna not just raw peek inside. What he's gonna do is just use that boom bop walk with it, but PTC just avoiding that flash, but PTC winning that. Yes, I can find the Lone Fields in return. PTC gets 2 already. The killer is down right now. The PTC is gonna take some damage, vulnerability, but it gives Nizzy a little bit of advantage with that frenzy.
Winnable here for Fancy. They got close enough to frenzies, but as soon as they say that, the tower position from Conqueror is strong. Drops down though to the hand of Nizzy. Allows him to actually get that takedown. It's Beta now versus Nizzy. Who can win against who first and foremost? The crate's in the way, but Beta, he's just playing the left and right game, anticipating where the breach may come from. So close! But it's not gonna happen for Fancy United. Made in Thailand, clutch it out at the very end. A good round, all things considered for Fancy United, but it's not enough to get that win.
Even though they're just trying to get as many rounds as possible on defense, because we all know it's a little bit harder for this map, especially on attack. But for Fancy United Esports, I think what's really important is they do manage to at least get to 4 points as they go to the switch. But this timeout is good for them because for Myth, I think what's really good is to also, sometimes when you lose, you always want to get these timeouts. But when you're winning as well, you gotta just kind of like stop and say, okay, let's kind of like breathe a little. I don't want to overheat.
I also think that they're taking this timeout right now because that was too close for Comfort. That was not a round where they should be happy about because effectively, that was a thrifty state there for Fancy United. One of the biggest strengths Myth has here for this roster is to prevent Fancy United from getting that close to the defense. But what happens? They still power through. They make those frenzies count. We saw the Viper lineup actually hit the target and apply that vulnerable state, making that frenzy even more so painful. And it took a clutch to win it. So for Made in Thailand, what has worked so far is to put the stopgap in front of B long, in front of B shorts, in front of A long, A short. That's pretty much the way to play Pines. With no mid, you have to get through the funnel. And for Made in Thailand, the whole strategy relies on that specific angle, or at least to buy them the space to work on the opposite one.
Flash as well, they already anticipated it. Smokes as well. Immediately, the knife comes out and immediately gets destroyed. See, it's the same thing over and over. It's almost like clockwork. Now, for Killers, as well as his teammate, he was trying to work as the anti-flash here. They do the quick ones, the consume for that star just to give some space. And this time, they're very, very much ready and just cautious to meet up with Conqueror. But Conqueror's a little bit smarter. He's just like, the same trick won't work twice. Immediately, Alone Fields will immediately just block off Hookah. And that's a good thing. Gives some information and buys a lot of time.
Yeah, Fancy United, they're playing the defaults here, slowly rotating towards A instead. Made in Thailand, happy to set up the wall early on, just to buy themselves time. But the pressure is on towards PTC and the raise 2 of the Doom. Doom, though, has been popping off so far. Finding ways to actually just out-frag Jin again and again, and PTC having to retreat from the Aftershock gives the lamps up to Fancy United, and that's exactly what Jin wants to do. But look at Kadum go! Look at Kadum get a second one even before he falls. He knew Jin was coming closer and closer to the CT side, and Made in Thailand, they get the trade, sure, but the Viper spits now for both sides. It's an interesting call for the defense at Fancy United. They know that they still have so much war work to go for. I think that Viper Spit perhaps for the res.
Ooh, gets the revive onto Kadum. That is absolutely huge. Gives them a man advantage again. But rather numbers advantage if you think about it. More is always better. But Nixie taking a lot of damage. The Conquest will at least buy them some space and time. PTC does find PCO. Gets that pit out of the way. Alone Fails. Finds PTC as well. That's huge. PTC on the other side. Here comes Kadum as well. Gets the defuse. And Myth once again showing a very, very solid round when it comes to this defense.
This is some great discipline from Made in Thailand. Some great surety and security. You rarely see a Viper Spit be used just for a res here, Tash, but they made that call. They wanted to have those exceptional numbers moving forward, given the fact that Fancy United had their own power position on that site. And just because of that win, their economy is broken here for Fancy United. It's a struggle now as the scoreline is absolutely overwhelming. We've been talking about evolution, we've been talking about change, but Made in Thailand, they're looking to be, well, a step ahead against Fancy United here.
Look at Jin taking up so much space once again. He's just so good when it comes to U-Haul control. Fast rotations coming through from the other team as Kadum gonna make sure that it's clear first before he gets come through. Going through Heaven, but look at that Rolling Thunder come through as well as the flashes. But PCO is a little bit faster, but Kadum he gets two with the pain shells. That's exactly what it's called, pain shells right now. But they know that yes, I can might be toward showers here, but look at the rotations. They are trying to go straight toward A, but it's a little bit hard when you're outnumbered this way. They have crossfires everywhere.
Yeah, play it to the absolute T. Remove the T from pain shells. Give the pain instead, and a solid 3-pointer there from Kadum. Stops Fancy United in their tracks. Look at them go. Look at them anticipate it. They know where Fancy is coming from. And Conga Red does it yet again. 9-1. Fancy United, they're running out of tricks here, Tash. And while some of the executes have been solid for Fancy United, first things first, it hasn't led to the scoreline. Second, it's made them a bit more predictable here for Made in Thailand. They know on the defense that lamps will be contested and will be vied for. They know that they are looking for that B-long control, and Made in Thailand, they make sure that they're always on it as much as possible.
Honestly, Beta probably gave Jin the heart attack of a lifetime, just swinging out like that. Gets distracted, and Congaret just gets those picks. I really love that sort of like plays coming through here. Just catches everyone off guard. Look at how fast they react to those information as well, coming in through. But this is the problem, isn't it? That Brimstone on this map has just been one of the stronger agents when it comes to smokes. And having a Brimstone and a Viper, absolute pain when you think about it. We always talked about double controllers from Fantasy United, but this time around they only have one controller, and how Made in Thailand has been doing in terms of controllers is just a lot better.
They have two, but in all honesty...
they have two, but for some reason it felt like the Astra hasn't been giving the impact.
I kind of get what your point. Where is the impact for Fantasy United, right? You usually expect something like the Astra to cut off these rotations, to get in the way with Nova Pulses, to give you chances with the Gravity Wells, but unfortunately, it's not happening for them. Instead, the only real value we're getting here is that Viper. Yes, you're gonna get this now. A Nebula perhaps in the way of the tower, but Made in Thailand, they already have a plan to drop on down and set up a crossfire yet again. The value for Made in Thailand and their double controller has become a bit more exceptional compared to Fantasy United. But here we have it now. A big kill from Jin as well as Fishio. They seems like they heard detached at Fantasy United, looking to prove us wrong immediately. Puts the spike down, gets the advantage, and here comes Jin gunning for the opposition. Beta perhaps the next victim. High ground being taken by Conga Red, but it's already a bad fight here for Made in Thailand.
Yes, I can. Just waiting from showers, trying to find those picks. But Congaret will be taken down by Ficio really, really quickly. And Jin with that just swing, taking a flawless for them. Absolutely phenomenal comeback here from Fantasy United.
That was a statement to you, my friend.
What?
I'm calling out the Astra. And look at the value of the Astra
he was
now.
just like, I'm gonna prove you wrong.
It was a strong round from Yes I Can. And we've seen from this game itself, if Yes I Can stay alive, can actually find the value with the stars and not get basically hampered but by the lineups of PTC and Beta, that's where you get the Astra to get value. That's when the Gravity Wells and the Nebulas actually get the job done for Fantasy United. One more chance though, first half looking to end. Showstopper does not get anything as PTC, which is lying in wait. A little too late for the suppress, a little too late for the intel. It's Made in Thailand, made a man advantage, and even the slow orb to get in the way.
They already had anticipated what exactly Jin does every single round as Kadoom with the op catches Yes I Can by surprise. Flashes come through as well as sprays. Snakebite to take up some space here, but the swing out from Showers just catches everyone off guard. Ficio does find his counterpart, but Kadoom and Congaret just really making this big work. Big firepower, big pew-pews is the name of the game for Myth.
More and more explosions from Made in Thailand too, as they move into the next round, the next half rather. It's an 8th round gap here, Tash. Made in Thailand has played this to absolute perfection. And this is, I guess, where we can talk about, again, the two controllers and what they bring to the table. Yes, I can. Most of the value is concentrated towards A tower and perhaps the middle container of B. But first things first, Made in Thailand, they rarely use that angle anyway on that B defense. And second, as soon as there's that coverage, it's still Made in Thailand having the foothold on the point. The stall has been strong, courtesy of the controllers and the stage. The tactics and the angles have just been better here for Made in Thailand after everything is modified by the smokes. So Fantasy United, if they want to make things work, well, it has to be plays like this. Nice snake bite into the takedowns of Made in Thailand. There's so many of them watching and lying in wait. It's still a fire range. It's a firing squad punishment and an execution to Fantasy United.
Man. That was just so painful to watch, honestly, coming through. Conga Red from the other side here, making sure to protect his teammate. There are those smokes there at least, but for Fantasy United, 1-on-3, very rough. This wall as well will funnel him just to one area, so they cannot actually anticipate where exactly he's going to come out. And no one is actually showing their position except for Alone Fills. Conga Red from one side, Flash comes through, but what are you going to do with all those utilities as well? All you can do is just buy some time, and suddenly Where are you gonna go? There's
Nizzy.
nowhere to go, nowhere to push. You're stuck in a chokehold because of that sage wall. He does still get one regardless. Aftershock is giving him all the space. But Lonefields has been absolutely insane with those right clicks.
Yeah, to Nizzy's credit, he did find the right timing to isolate for just a little bit. But did you see that his first peek? He looked and he was like, wait a minute. Someone's in front of me, someone's to my left, and someone's to my right.
He smells it.
He smells it, he senses it, and luckily the triple peak didn't catch him in the act there to take him down. So, the sixth sense to save him once, but not twice. And speaking of twice, Made in Thailand, they only need to win twice more to take the first map. Let's not forget, this is Fancy United's map pick. This is where they expect to perform. And moving into the next one, where it's Fracture, where they have struggled against Made in Thailand. I think the chances here for Fancy United, they're dwindling every single round if this keeps up here, Tash.
I like how exactly Myth is playing this is just sort of finding these cracks to go through. Once they have the site, it's almost so hard to play these retakes. As we come through right now, look at them just taking their time. They are pinging for B long at least. But when you think about Myth, they're the type of team that's not gonna move until they have solid information. That's good trigger discipline as well, and not overreacting until they are for sure certain of something happening. They smell a rat? Probably not just yet. But Congaret this time with the lead. And I don't think that Killers actually did notice anyone just yet. Now he does! That fragment will actually take up a lot of space for now, but they're already on the site. Kadum finds Yes I Can. Wukong with this Stinger finds one, but not before Lonefields just runs and guns him with the Spectre. PTC for the backside. Surprise! I'm right here! Look behind you!
Yeah, Made in Thailand's fight assessment is just so potent right now. The fact that they got on the site while Fancy United was still scrambling to set up already screams dividends and screams of how much of advantage they have in this map so far. Nizzy though, ready from the hookah, has been spotted and taken on down. Here comes Beta and Conga Red to wrap it up. Everyone in Made in Thailand getting a kill. But that's the thing. I was expecting Yes I Can to be the one to try and hold things down with the Astra, especially on the defense. But it took Wukong or Killer S to throw that fragment first before the star came online. And Made in Thailand was already on site with half of them. It was a good half. It was a good count, yes, from Fancy United. But it was still enough for Made in Thailand to work with and to get that round win.
They're just so fast when it comes to those executes. That's the reason why Myth is just so ahead. We never really see hesitation come through, especially as they go onto a site. They don't even care that that fragment was down. They just push out there, just tank it a little bit. But Kadum with the opening straight onto, wow, Jin and Nizzy. That is absolutely huge. No trade out of that. But Kadum pushing out here from the other side, and Myth is just punishing Fancy for going too aggressive.
Yeah, punishing Fancy United for playing on this map. Made in Thailand, looking to be made men already, and there you go, 13-2, as quick as can be for Made in Thailand. Fancy United, they showed promise with the flights from Jin. They showed that they can support their duelists. But how many times have we seen Made in Thailand just shut the door on Fancy United to prevent them from executing the way they want? If the first pass blitzkrieg from Fancy United doesn't work, the snail's pace always goes in favor of Made in Thailand.
I think what's really important to note is the fact that for Made in Thailand, we're seeing a lot of different plays and rotations, as you can see in the highlights coming up in a little while. And I think what's really cool as well is maybe we'll see Beta in the corner of the B side right under Hookah, and then suddenly we see Conga right there. So this shuffles is kind of like catching Fancy United off guard. Now, when you look at Fancy United, how they start around, how they move onto the site has been the same over and over again. And Albert Einstein has always said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and we're not seeing that shift in how they want to take this plays and how they want to work through.
Is it an Einstein quote? Is it really
it is
him
an
who said
Einstein
that?
quote. Come on, I want to feel smart.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Thanks for the fun fact there, Tash. I always thought he was the guy who said equals MC squared.
I mean, he does say that too.
And he sticks his tongue out for a picture. But, well, there's a lot of energy in Made in Thailand right now, that's for sure. You can see that they're always just jumping on Fancy United. I think what I noticed here is Fancy United expects one thing, Made in Thailand is the other, and Fancy United just doesn't have enough to deal with them by that point, giving Made in Thailand the edge.
I think what's really important as well is the fact that Myth is just so not committed, but I would say that they are very aware on what exactly they want to do, and they follow through with every single execute that's happening. It's not like Fancy United where they're like, okay, we got a pick, let's go change to the other side. Because of that, they get picked off one by one, and suddenly by the time they want to hit a site, they just dwindle down in terms of numbers and in terms of their utilities. Myth a little bit better with their utility control, as well as how exactly they manage to use it. It's a little bit more flexible. It's not the same utility usage over and over again, and this is where we want to say, like, Fancy United, perhaps you want to kind of figure out different ways of trying to enter a site, take a site, or even hold a site with your lineups.
Yeah, we're looking a bit more for that creativity that has determined Fancy United and their run all throughout the year. Made in Thailand, though, just showing what they can do this time around. But we still have more maps to go here. Fracture next. Dax here with Tash. We'll see you guys in a bit for more here in the Clash of Nations.
I'm like a dog, I do the most to get off on my leash, yeah. I am a beast, looking for something to eat, yeah. I cannot be defeated, I could take off, I don't need a reason. Anyone that see me sweating, bleeding, I'm about to take off, yeah, believe it, yeah, believe it. I cannot be stopped, no, no. 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 Like a dog, I do the most to get off on my leash, yeah. I am a beast, looking for something to eat, yeah. I cannot be defeated, I could take off, I don't need a reason. Anyone that see me sweating, bleeding, I'm about to take off, yeah, believe it, yeah, believe it. I cannot be stopped, no, no. 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 Bounce. Everybody love a comeback. Gotta love a good comeback. Now you witnessing a comeback. Everybody love a comeback. Gotta love a good comeback. They say pressure bust pipes. So what's the win without a comeback? So what's the win without a comeback? Hustling every day to win. Now you witnessing a comeback. I'm not the one that you should play with. Better stick with who you came with. You ain't a thug, you a plaintiff. And I might jack dangerous. Moonwalking through a jam. Thread a slide for the bread. Watch them pray on my downfall. Hoping that they get ahead. So we don't give them no respect. It's just time to shuffle deck. Hit the body, clip the neck. Cause you know that more is less. Yes. Yes, Lord, I gotta win by any means. I'm all for it. I got a little strategy, and I won't blow it. I feel like I got Cali keys. Show me the door, cause they just want apologies and never war. So we hit them with apostrophes on they score. That's money, boy. Everybody love a comeback. Gotta love a good comeback. They say pressure bust pipes. So what's the win without a comeback? So what's the win without a comeback? Hustling every day to win. Now you witnessing a comeback. Everybody love a comeback. Gotta love a good comeback. They say pressure bust pipes. So what's the win without a comeback? So what's the win without a comeback? Hustling every day to win. Now you witnessing a comeback. Game 7 with the comeback. Second left with the comeback. Being Brian when I inspire. Real rap, that's all fact. Yeah. Tell me how you love that. Y'all middlemen, your fans. I'm trying to show them where to plug at. I'm trying to show them how to get back. Hustle up and get a kickback. That real motivation. Chill bumps when they hear that. Talking real demonstration. That Nipsey dedication. Hustling every day to win. That NEP mission statement. Never ending power. Look how I innovated. This that 10,000 hours. You get paid from your patience. Game need renovating. Hey, lucky I don't cave it. I ain't nothing to play with. Boy, I'm about to go ape shit. Everybody love a comeback. Gotta love a good comeback. They say pressure bust pipes. So what's the win without a comeback? So what's the win without a comeback? Hustling every day to win. Now you witnessing a comeback. Everybody love a comeback. Gotta love a good comeback. They say pressure bust pipes. So what's the win without a comeback? So what's the win without a comeback? Hustling every day to win. Now you witnessing a comeback.
You see the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it. You see the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it. Now you should know though. I'm after moto. I gotta get it. I might be solo. Oh, I with FOMO. You know I'm with it. But if I'm dolo, I'm still gon' want those. A real one. Because it's YOLO. Because it's YOLO. You live once. How about that paper? We all shine. 7 days a week, it's no debate that we all grind. And you see them haters be on mine. Talking about your boy like he the greatest of all time. And if you flown it, then you should know that I want it. I be on it, I be ballin' all through the night till the morning. Want some money? You should see me move. I see it, dog. Cause I go hard in everything I do. Not be a child. Chin checking competition, checking on my position. And no one mind is missing when we talking about my commission. Yes. If you ain't hear me, then stop and listen. Cause no one mind is missing when we talking about my commission. See the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it. You see the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it. Your team's only strong as your leader is. That's why my team just know I'll never leave it diz. Pockets get fatter and fatter. In fact, I need it diz. I'm getting money, it don't matter what the season is. And your girl love it, cause she know I be stunting. She see just how I does it. She know I ain't frontin', I got the streets bustin'. Hey, you ain't got nothing, you gotta at least come in. With the need to be something, man, listen. Ambition's a part of my plan, mission. Transition, cash rich and getting some more additions. That's why they tryna get me and come in my neck. Just know my team is with me and come to protect. Checking competition, checking on my position. And no one mind is missing when we talking about my commission. If you ain't hear me, then stop and listen. Cause no one mind is missing when we talking about my commission. See the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it. You see the baddest women in the room. I got it. That money stacking to the ceiling, fool. I got it. And people watching you watch how I move. I got it. You got it. I got it. You got it. I got it.
Bar the doors, turn off the lights. Where I'm headed, hell might be better. Bar the doors, turn off the lights. Where I'm headed, hell might be better. Stop, dirt under my shoes. I look like winning, you lie, it was never true. If I'm no one, no one, no one. If I'm nothing, nothing. What does that make you? Lost cause, bodies lay numb, destruction follows it.
Always a good day to continue on here in SEA. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, in the Thailand-Vietnam qualifiers. That's here with Tash yet again and made in Thailand, looking like they were made for bind in that last map. Now then, we move over to Fracture, and I think as Tash decides to stop dancing to the solid beats we've had here, amazing playlist, by the way, producers. I think there's a big question now racking everyone's heads. How is Fancy United gonna perform in this second map? Because it's an absolute must-win to stay in the series, to stay in contention for the playoffs. But their history all throughout the year have been, I'd say, shaky, to put things lightly.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers for Fancy United, a 25% win rate is absolutely scary when you think about it. And now when we see when we look at the teams such as Fracture, we've seen teams like SMG previously love to play very, very aggressive on this map, and it's working out really well. Paper Rex as well love to play very aggressive on this map, regardless whether on your attack or defense. Go and attack as much as you want. Flanks is the number one thing you have to watch out on this particular map.
And thank you there, Miss Game Changers Caster. I kind of have to say though real quick that Fancy United, it's a question of identity. I feel like it has been a problem so far. In a map like this, they recently have decided to run something like the double duelist with the Phoenix of all things in their past month in previous tournaments.
Hey, don't sleep on the Phoenix on this map.
Okay.
I have seen amazing runs with this particular
So you're
agent.
telling me you didn't believe in the Phoenix on Pearl, but you're believing on Fracture.
Yes, because I saw it run in Game Changers and it was really good.
Okay. That's a bias right there. That's actually a bias right there. But okay, confirmation aside, let's not forget, this is a map picked by Made in Thailand. This is a map played by Made in Thailand versus Fancy United twice already in major tournaments this year. And twice has Made in Thailand beaten Fancy United on this map. So the facts are there that Made in Thailand, this is the perfect map to have if they want to wrap up this series. But Fancy United, yet again, they've had these amazing runs recently. They have a new duelist in the roster. And I wonder what changes they will make this time around to try and take this map away from Made in Thailand.
Maybe not a pocket pick, perhaps. Might be a bit dangerous. But given the fact that if they actually do go for a double duelist, I would really like to see perhaps a Reina and I would say, I want to see a Reina. Reina's really good right now. Reina can pretty much fend for herself, play aggressive, watch flanks as well, take on these 1v1s or 1v2s, especially with her util. And now for the entry, I would like to see a Raze. Raze has been so phenomenal on this map. We've seen Jing do it before, or maybe even a KO has been so great to see on this map as well. Regardless, for Fracture, because of their low percentage win rate, this is where they really gotta rack their brains. What exactly went wrong in our previous matchups against Myth on this map? What can we do better? And how exactly can we counter their playstyle?
Yeah, truth be told, the suggestions you made, they're actually feasible here for Fancy United. Jin, wow, you're so proud that I agree with you. Look, I don't think the rain is coming unless Fancy United are willing to risk it all. But Jin has had history to play it alongside things like the Jet. I think Killer S, he runs the Raze here for Fancy United before. If they do want to go back to something a bit more standard, I fully expect Jin to be the one picking up that Raze mantle instead and Killer S actually flexing on over. But the possibility is there, Tash. So I will give you points.
You possibilities.
You have possibilities. You have your fettuccine possibility, your carbonara possibility of a 1-1, or a possibility of a 2-0. I think this is where we can mention what Made in Thailand runs right now, and it's been pretty standard, I believe, for Myth. They still run the Neon. They happy to run the Brimstone, the Chamber. They are willing though to play a double duelist composition in their most recent runs against Southfield Esports and Fancy United, apparently, because of their additions, because of who they have on this roster right now. So I'm looking to see what perhaps they can do moving forward here, because again, PTC, he already proved himself last time around, and if he's gonna be on something like the Chamber, it allows Kadum and Alone Fills to play ultra aggressive together.
Yeah, with that breach as well, it's just absolutely scary. So many clear, I think corner clearing potential, very aggressive flashes, and I think that why I think that this map is just literally made in Thailand. Wow.
Wow.
Is because it just really suits their playstyle. Very aggressive, very fast, and they like to run it down. So if say Fancy United tries to play a thing where okay, we're not able to kind of deal with the initial aggression coming through from them, why don't we give up site and play retakes? And we've seen so many teams actually do so well playing retakes because there's so many different areas and corners they can cover, so long as they do not allow time for Myth to reposition and actually commit to those, I would say, post-plant setups. Regardless for Fancy United, now for attack, it's also another question for me because Jin has been phenomenal when it comes to taking up space, but when we looked at Bind just now, Jin was pretty much playing alone. He was a little bit too much far away from his teammates, especially as he enters the site. So there's no, I would say, possibility for a refrag or even a trade, and it just feels like he just goes down for nothing.
Yeah, it's a matter of sync, and we were talking about it right after the match, that this is a bit of a problem for Fancy United since it's that newest edition, since it's the first time we're seeing Jin play in a tournament setting for Fancy United. There are those moments where it does feel like that he's overexerting himself, being over-eager, perhaps a bit of some muscle memory playing for different teams, expecting Fancy United to be there when they're busy doing something else, trying to watch out for Heaven towards A site instead of allowing him to actually push into CT. Here on Fractured though, it's gonna be more important to be in sync because who gets more of the map will take this. They'll take this map in the first place. Jin though is the one on the Phoenix. They're doing it! So this is actually intriguing that Jin's the one on the Phoenix rather than the Raze because we saw him on the Raze last time around with Killer S. It must be comfort for him to be on the Raze instead. He has been rocking it for the team, the rest of the roster following suit. I'm just intrigued by the fact that it will be Nizzy on the Fade, which allows the Breach to actually be played by Yes I Can, and Fishio's on the Brimstone. So that's the adjustment that they've made when Jin came on board. You move Nizzy to that initiator role, things looking a bit more comfortable here for Fancy United so far.
You know what's really crazy? The fact that they put Kadum on Neon has been absolutely scary. We've seen his performance during VCT Apex Stage 2, and Kadum was just mowing everyone down with that particular agent. Now for Beta, no changes there, and we all know that in terms of smokers for this particular map, it's either going to be a Viper or a Brimstone, and Brimstone is just so good when it comes to that, I think, site control. Molly, the smokes, as well as the orbital strike, so good at not only taking up space, but denying those diffusers or even those plants. Now, coming into PTC here, I think PTC has been an absolute banger when it comes to those first headshots there, and I think Chamber is just perfect for him.
Yeah, exactly that. For Made in Thailand, they just get even stronger with PTC giving that flexibility and allowing Alone Fills to take a different role.
I was gonna say something here. Is the fact that with the Chamber, why Chamber is just so good at this map is because it prevents those flanks. And I did say flanks on flanks is the core idea for this map in general.
Flankception?
But yeah, flankception. But we don't have an agent that can watch flanks without, I mean, at least utility wise for the side of Fancy United, which means that they have to actively have someone there to watch their backsides.
They have to go in. They have to get in there as soon as possible. And here we have it now, ladies and gentlemen. Back into the game. And back with Made in Thailand on the defense as they have the series lead. Can Fancy United bring it back and force out the third map? Or do we get that 2-0? One thing about the map pool that also has gotten my attention here for Made in Thailand is the fact that this still allows Beta to play that Brimstone. And while he usually can run an Omen, he can play pretty much any controller, him on the Brimstone is just something a little bit more special for Made in Thailand. It amplifies their aggression, allows them to move in even quicker and play that area denial. Here we go, the PTC! Hello, I see you! Wukong goes down early on, Killer S killed in his prime.
Oh man, not a great situation when you don't have your duelist for you to enter onto site. There is still Jin, but Jin is the one in charge of at least bringing the lurks, or rather the cavalry onto B site, but the rotation's already coming through, leaving only one person on A site. And I think what's really important to note is because they have so much support, or rather trust for his teammate, they're okay with him anchoring the site all alone. Now, for Beta, I think he actually suspects that someone might be coming in from arcade. He's already primed and ready. But the question is, they were trying to go for that anti-flash here as Beta immediately gonna just get smoked out of the area and Jin quickly gonna be taking up the space onto tower. But it doesn't really matter when you are already concussed out. Nizzy tries to go forward, but Beta is ready. Ficio gets the trade, but Lone Fields and Kadum get one more each. Yes, I can win two, but Kadum seals the deal so easily. Very, very clean round one for Myth.
Yeah, Made in Thailand made that defense work because they covered each other. There was that moment where it was someone blinded on the site, but Beta was there to protect his teammate. And from that point on, it was just dominoes falling in their favor. Trades for trades, Made in Thailand making sure that they had the man advantage. And you have someone like PTC, right? Who got that first pick off and then was able to help out there at the very end in terms of the rotation. You always have that plan B here for Made in Thailand, but if it's even better, if they can still stabilize on site. It worked a while ago on Bind, especially in those B takes. Will it happen yet again on the same lettered side? We'll find out as Kadum has invested early on with the rifle.
Has to actually get value from that, and he does, immediately getting Jin out of the way, gets two, stopped by Beta. But it doesn't really matter as Kadum already with three. A great sacrifice from Beta to make sure that that Vandal survives another day. As on this side though, Alone Fields finds Wukong, and Kongar gets one more. Very, very clean once again, round number 2. And I have to say, we're starting to see Myth really, really build on that momentum for this map.
Yeah, Made in Thailand looking so confident in just this series alone. You have Kadum getting so many frags early on. I'm expecting an overdrive to come out in a pinch if need be. Perhaps his bonus, still a possibility. 5 takedowns already, 2 away from the ultimate. He can actually cede control of an angle if he wants to go for that orb across the map. Let's not forget, Fracture is the only map that has 4 orbs up for grabs. So ultimates, they can be utilized here by Made in Thailand if they have the map control that they need. Here we go, no PTC can't get away with it. Not this time, says Fancy United. This opens up A site heavily, but the rest of Myth have to follow suit. Aftershock is the play, Alone Fields playing the tower to try and hold things down.
Lone Fields taking up a lot of damage from those utilities. They're gonna bounce that nade onto the side. Finds Jin, Beta, and Alone Fields get another one each with the pain shells as well. The Sheriff, it's so very low. All he does is spray and pray. Ficio getting caught out there by Kadum. And suddenly, they're dwindled down to only 1 player left. And he's so very low. 1 sneeze is all that's needed. They'll be Beta with the Sheriff to close it off.
I can't believe Made in Thailand just make that look so easy on their bonus. They lost their anchor towards A site. Doesn't matter. Everyone still scrambles, and the hastiness of Made in Thailand allowing them to get in position before Fancy United could truly react. Sure, there was the hold there, courtesy of the Rays, and at the very least, Made in Thailand able to buy time for themselves. But Fancy United, what's the plan now moving forward? They can't get the immediate space that they're looking for with this Rays. They're not able to really get the flashes to get ultimate value from the Breach and the Phoenix. You can even add in the Fade. So what's next here for Fancy United? There are these struggles right now to even catch Made in Thailand, who's playing a bit of a gap. And they line up so easily for him! It's not just a collateral, it's a triple. Alone Fields is there too!
Oh, that switch, taking up that space from PTC, and Kadum taking up that spot, catches them off guard. They were expecting to run into a headhunter, but they run into a crazy Conga ran with a triple. Wow.
Tash, you don't see a triple collateral too often.
Oh man, that was nasty.
Oh, the spray, all the bullets clocking those skulls. He now has the overdrive, but I don't think he even needs it by this point here, Tash.
This is what I was talking about in terms of Made in Thailand. They're just so okay with switching it up every single round, and we're not seeing that change coming here for Fancy United. Regardless, Nizzy with those lineups. Let's go. Whoa. My bad. I was so excited.
Well, we didn't see that one. It never happened. Made in Thailand, though, Need to make sure that this push towards B doesn't work from the arcade. Trying to keep a bit of tower control. Beta gonna be able to get rid of Killer's
Nizzy gets
up,
2.
but Nizzy does get 2. It's 2 for 2. And Fancy United equalizing the odds at the very end. They're on site, but the spike really isn't in the best position to be planted as of now. Goes over to the default safe little corner, but Kadoom is just waiting for the timing. And look at the bounce go. Allows him to go for the slide on in! And Kadoom! It's the glue of Fancy United there. What a play by the Neon, does the job all by his lonesome.
I think what's really great about it is the fact that Kadoom on the Neon is basically his comfort pick. He knows how exactly to play him, and we've seen so many situations where he just basically just runs it on the side. 12-1. What an insane KD, honestly.
I'm just freaking out. The stun call into the takedown. I know it's a very simple bounce, but he did that to execute the isolations, to get the 1v1s on. And he bought himself enough time to even slide in position just to confirm where the last member of Fancy United was. We've seen Neons here be made in the CA scene, especially on Fracture. A big case is in the Indonesian side. Let's not forget the Thailand side too. Kadoom, one of the biggest examples of that here, Tash.
Nizzy this time around not allowing the same mistake to happen again, but that op not getting any value, and this time Killer's coming straight onto the side, taking that space inside of tower. Jin just waiting, but for the team of Mid, they are very ready to just answer with their own utilities. Beta with through the smoke. They're just following the bullet tracers, but here comes Beta with a 3, using that orbital strike. 4 already on Beta. We love an aggressive Brimstone. Still one more to worry about as Congarat just seals the deal. Very easy for them. Very clean.
Yeah, made in Thailand. As soon as Fancy United fell into the trap of B sites, it was just them keeping Beta alive enough to keep that orbital strike into play. Not only does he stop the initial aggression from Jin, but at the same time, with his ultimate, he forces out Fancy United in awkward spots. He's able to isolate the player from tower to not be able to help the team out whatsoever. It was desperate from Killer S to at least try to get the hell out of there. And Fancy United, unfortunately, their name says United, but their play hasn't really been the way of their name so far.
Ouch. But again, with that bounce, not getting any value regardless. Lone Fields is ready for the trade if they were to push up there. But for the other members of Fancy, this time around, they're trying to play a little bit more cautious. Perhaps more emphasis can be done when it comes to taking up that space. Or perhaps there can be a different way of coming onto site, because we've only really been seeing them come in entry from arcade or even main. Perhaps Dish might be a different idea or a different way, but they are gonna be trying to go toward B this time around. Beta still holding the same area. That Molly will buy a lot of time.
Him on the Brimstone has been something absolutely exceptional. These flames will hurt Jin. He's not fireproof to that, but here comes Jin! He finally gets the frag he's been looking for. First one on the board with the run it back. Catching out Beta playing with his iPad, and yes, I can, even watching the flank. This is a lot better for Fancy United. If they cover their corners, if they cover their traps, then they have a better chance to make these side things work. Here comes Fancy now as Nizzy gets one more on the show. It's all left to Alone Phils, who's all alone in behind. Can he actually get the duels to go in his favor? Yes, I can, though, with a nice spot. The Pain Shells to throw things down, buy him a little bit space, but Fancy United, they're all watching him. This time around, they're looking united. They're looking better in that last fight.
He just needed that one situation that gives him a lot of value, and without Beta, suddenly everything just collapses as the rotations were just not able to be stopped with the help of Beta's smokes and everything else in between. Regardless, for this time around, this is where I'm curious to see where the changes are going to be through. So you see Beta still playing the same way, but they're actually going to be putting one more player with him right over there, which will be their Breach and the Neon there as well. So it's going to be a very aggressive push on B side. A little bit more, I would say, passive on the A side.
Fancy United, they just can't afford to be separated too much. The run it back Jin can go forward where no other player is. But this time around, Alone Phil's crashing out Killers, but not Jin, who's able to stay a step ahead and stay alive. Here comes Jin, power position on top of the tower. The high ground gives him the vision, and Yes I Can is the one confirming those kills. All left now to the Brimmy. Over for Made in Thailand. It's Beta going over to the A site instead, but Fancy United still above and beyond the rest of the field this time around. Speaking of above though, Jin's right there. Has to get away from the flames, and Beta able to get the wall bang on. And get that takedown. Crossfire though is set. Yes I Can. Yet again the second floor. But he looks away. Finally though. Spots out the opposition. Doesn't get the takedown. That's a big mistake here for Fancy United. And Beta is allowed to get onside. Yes I Can. His name says it all. Can he do it for the team? Beta though, absolutely an alpha here in this situation. He sticks it to halfway, but he can't get any further than that. Yes I Can makes up for his mistakes there at the end. And it's a second round here for Fancy United.
Oh, it looks very different for Fancy United on this round. Very aggressive plays coming through, which is exactly what they needed. So long as they can get that first pick onto the site, it's been huge. Now we're starting to see Jin really start to wake up and really take responsibility for the team coming through here. We see those really early picks as well, and as well as the refrag potential coming through from Fancy United, which is exactly what they needed. Regardless, this is the Dish control I was talking about. Immediately gonna clear out the back side of Dish, finds it clear. Now I don't think that they're aware that Dish is the area they're trying to go for here, because look at how deep in PTC is toward A main. For now, he still gets one. It's going Jin, taken out of the way. Not quite enough to get two, but it's going Ficio getting out, and there will be an up waiting for him if he chooses to, but they're already onto the side, because with those picks, it's been huge for them in terms of space.
Yeah, the Dish pressure actually allowing Fancy United. What is the smoke? What am I looking at?
Nothing.
What kind of stuff
You
is
can't
that?
see anything.
There's nothing to see. Conquer Red though finding Killer S, and here goes the Rolling Thunder. Even counter Rolling Thunder is the answer for Fancy United to hold down the line, but fly on high. Alan Phils gets to the staircase, a bit surprised. Yes I can't see it coming, but Nizzy is there over onto the main angle, and it's all left to Alone Phils in a 1v2. Fisher though getting ready with the Orbital Strike. Might have to peek with his teammate, but Alone Phils finds the 1v1 anyway. Fisher retreating forward now. He has the button to win. He only needs to pop the ultimate, and he buys tie form himself, but is it enough? Alone Phils, yeah, he has to back on away. What a round though for Made in Thailand and Fancy United. I think for Fancy, them going for the disposition that you have been talking about all throughout this game works out for them, because the trademark spotted them, and it forced PTC to keep holding in his initial angle rather than rendezvousing away.
Yeah, just so good coming in from that pincer, which is what I want to see more for Fancy United. These pincer situations works very well, especially for this map, coming in from two different areas, and once you know that there's a pick already picked off there on main, suddenly you have full reign onto the site, and that's exactly what Fancy United did. So now for Made in Thailand, the idea is how exactly are they going to be adapting through this, because we haven't really seen the changes yet. I mean, we see the same sort of places they're holding, but not necessarily a change in half their strats, but it's going to be PTC playing here onto the main A site. But he is okay with actually just playing aggressive. Alone Phils and Kadoo get one each. Dish control is not going to be allowed once again, but this time they're just running it straight onto the B side here, and spray is coming through from Beta, and PTC just waiting in the smokes to come out.
You know the answer, Made in Thailand, get in the way as soon as possible. They vied for Dish. I thought it would have been a battle of the flights, but Kadoo was the one who gets in the way. There you go, surprise from Jin as he uses the curveball to take down Beta, but the rest of mid are lying in wait towards the spawn. This forces Fancy United to actually commit towards B site. It's such a difficult rotation if ever they hold their butts towards A, but look at this angle from Kadoo. Spots out Fancy United retreating towards tower. Now Made in Thailand, a bit more security in the push. They go for the aftershock though, first and foremost. They'll have to deal with the fault line. Fisher actually dropping down towards the arcade area, and Fisher catching PTC off guard. Alone Phils though, already trying to get halfway.
God,
Fisher does it yet again. Over onto the tower, it's gonna be Yes I Can being a bother. Kadoo will find Fisher. It's a 1v1 yet again, but Yes I Can loses it this time, and it's Kadoo who will hold things down for Made in Thailand and make it 7-3 here, Tash.
Oh man, I have to say that it looked a little bit scary after that post plant. But look at how Beta and his teammates played that. Just playing and holding in the same area. They have that refrag potential, just dwindling down the numbers. So the idea is for Made in Thailand, what they do is just wait until all of the teammates are here and play with each other. And I think that this has been actually really good for them. Fancy United tried to do the same thing, but when you're getting picked off one by one, that's when the trouble starts to happen for the team.
Yeah, Fancy United divided with their split pushes, and it works out when they're able to congregate together, not when Made in Thailand is able to separate and duel them. Red already starting things off strong. Made in Thailand anticipating the push from main, using that doorway to the best degree. Yes, I can at least answers back with a classic. That can be a gun that can utilize courtesy of the stance area, but Made in Thailand, they know it's coming. The curveball too late to the party, and it's Made in Thailand who will celebrate at the end. 8-3 now.
Firing squad there where everyone just stuck on sand. Everyone's just shooting at each other through the smoke. No one actually have an idea what's happening. All you can hear is just smoke and chaos. Well, that's exactly what you can expect from a desert. But this time around, I'm really curious to see how exactly Fancy United wants to end this round before they swap out.
Fancy United, can they get the job done and at least make it 8-4 at the very end? You can see the struggles though, that if Made in Thailand is able to catch them in the act, it's hard for them to get all the value that they want because they have still a bit of time to go for the setup. And speaking of a setup, what kind of setup? Kadoom needs none as he goes on in and vaporizes the opposition. Orbital Strike also to melt them down. Laser beams, they're the future. And Made in Thailand's future is even brighter here. Congaret holding over at the arcade and, well, Hi Fishio, goodbye to you too. 9-3. Just a quick end to a half.
If you know that Kadoom has your ultimate, run. Absolutely run. Don't
Didn't
even
he
wait
have
at the
that?
entrance, man.
Dash. Didn't he have that for almost all that half?
Yeah.
He didn't bother using it. He's like, okay, maybe later.
He
What a
has
guy.
to now. He's like, oh god, I've had this whole time.
It's
I
the
haven't
last
used
round
it.
of the half. Might as well.
Oh man.
It's a good one and done, I have to say. You always want to do that ultra aggressive play on Fracture at least once on the defense, just to jolt your opponent awake, basically.
Yeah, I think that I was expecting that kind of play, but I think what they are doing is just much better, where they don't want to be punished for playing aggressive, because Fancy United is the type of team to punish those aggressive plays, especially on as attacker. Regardless, for this time, for Made in Thailand, we're starting to see them just really take their time to get that information and just play off of each other. And Fancy United, they're just gonna react instead. Look at this. Those utility on utility instead of pushing through means that they can't really figure out where exactly they're gonna go.
Yeah, that's true. Caution to the win in the last round. This time, Made in Thailand, understanding the definition of the word safe. PTC leading the charge, so flicks on over, gets to take down onto Jin Fisher. Trades it back, but an opening has been made by Made in Thailand, and they can control all of B sites and beyond. Tower now taken by Kadoom. Keep an eye out of the flank. That's what Congaret is doing here, and many members of Fancy United, courtesy of their spawn. At least Fancy United, their plan is to contend from main. The Haunt can be in the way. Fisher and Wukong do get the takedowns to make sure that Fancy United has the advantage. But Made in Thailand, they're not done. Try to go for a pinch. They try to go for the wraparound. Kadoom here finds the lone target in the middle, but here's the rest of Fancy United looking to follow suit and looking to protect the rest of the squad. Can Beta do anything here? Not gonna happen. Fancy United keeping themselves alive in the second half.
Man, suddenly you see that aggression that we saw in the beginning from Made in Thailand. We start to question, on attack side, how exactly are we going to be playing this? But for Myth, we know that they're a team that's really good at adapting. Perhaps a change on this round, or perhaps the same thing over and over again. But for for Fancy United, this might be the call of hope for them. You see 4 stingers here, and I think for Myth rather, if they were to play aggressive, they can, if they were to go very, very fast. And we know that most of the value from a stinger comes from those close range sort of situations. But Fancy, knowing that they have the gun advantage here, they want to go out, they want to play aggressive, but Myth was coming in from the other side. Where are you looking is the question.
Oh, wrong start engage for Fancy United. Made in Thailand looking to close that gap as you mentioned, and here they come. Still though, Killer S with that Vandal effective enough. BTC finds him at the very end. again. Even the 360 does not protect the Rays whatsoever. But it's a 2v2 after everything is said and done. Made in Thailand, they got the gap close you've been looking for here, Tash.
Planted.
PTC has been really good, but the barrel of the gun for Congaret has been seen. Ficio from that side and Nizzy trying to clear out the area. That aftershock will at least be enough time to play around or just push them out of the way. PTC already with 3k in the pocket. They're playing together here. All they have to do is just swing together, and here we go. PTC with 4k. A little bit too close for comfort, but they do seal it down.
The bullets grazing his hair, I bet, at the very end. But still, enough cover, enough of a peek, and enough for Made in Thailand to work with. They got the space. You basically predicted that, so plus crystal ball points to you. Good job. the fact that Fancy United unfortunately had the wrong call. It's a percentage thing. You have a 25% chance to catch the big bulk of your opponents in the app. And instead, they found PTC who played back, who was waiting for opportunity as the rest of his team caused chaos. And it's a big reason why PTC, again, one of the star players in the Thailand scene in general, just that decision making, coming to close the round
Where is
and being
Fancy
very
going?
effective to get those takedowns. Fancy United, they want to go to the other side of the map here, Tash.
Moving all together this time around. They're like, if we're gonna play united this time. We're gonna play together. We're gonna hold hands.
Come on.
But look at where Made in Thailand is going. They're holding hands towards B. An unfortunate situation
It's
once
a carousel.
again.
It's a Ferris wheel.
I can't believe this is happening. This is
We're
the
at-
second time in a row.
We're at the amusement park, and eventually, it really is. So, right in an amusement park, when the first group leaves, the second one will get on the ride.
Yeah.
And then they can line up again. Here we go.
But their rotation is just not fast enough, though. Look at the post plants
They
already
don't have the
happening.
fast pass. They don't have the fast pass here, Tash. They didn't subscribe for the year here at Disneyland. But Fancy United, it's gonna be a world of hurt waiting for them. PTC is already ready. He's down here in the underground. Fish are gonna be walking into sidelines. Beta also covering up main and Made in Thailand. A world of fun and fanfare for a flawless round.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that Fancy United Esports didn't buy that fast pass. They really, really needed that.
They needed to get there. They're probably like, guys, North's clear. Where do you think they are? Oh, from where you came from. Okay.
Oh man, they tried so many times to make that hand-holding situation happen. But the problem is, like, Myth is just so great at just messing around with the mind games here. They're not really trying, but I think this is a situation where Fancy United might be overthinking things.
Yeah, Fancy United, they're getting shaken by Made in Thailand. And well, for Made in Thailand, looking to serve a pain yet again into the round. Look at the aggression though for Fancy United. This time, they throw all caution to the wind and decide to take the south side of the map for themselves. But Mid is prepared yet again to just stabilize on a site and to wrap up these kind of rounds. Beta stopping, yes I can. It feels like Fancy United suddenly becomes the attacker, and we know how that went in the first half. It's dangerous waters here for Fancy United trying to play this dangerous game. And Made in Thailand, they're already prepared for the angles of where Fancy
they hear
United
the
can come from.
footsteps.
They heard it, they know it's coming, and Beta with one, almost gets a second, but Nizzy a bit better there in that firefight. Has the Nightfall available, throws it down. Conqueror
pushing
knows
up.
where it came from. He knows, he saw the shadows envelop that side of the map. He's stalking his prey, ready for the angle. His teammates died though, and it will be Jin to bail out Fancy United at the very end. I like the play for the rotation, but the kills from Fancy United came in crucial at the right times.
Yeah, it's just the fact that they already knew where exactly is gonna be, get one, and immediately reacting to it. But 11-5, still a high tower to climb, but when we see that potential come through from Fancy United, this is where you get a little bit excited and see what exactly can they do exactly. But coming through here, I'm just not seeing the impact coming through from the Fade. I'm not really seeing the impact come through from their Phoenix, because have we even seen a Phoenix firewall up yet so far?
I don't even remember
You want to
noticing if
play?
the Blaze has
Let's
found
play.
any value. Some curveballs, yes, here and there, but yet again, the short distance getting in the way. And here we
took
go
so
one
much
more
damage.
time. So much damage. Fancy United, though, able to wade on through. 3 HP even for the Phoenix. Now to run it back can replenish his HP.
Oh my God,
and it's
really
Nizzy
good.
and Jin bringing in the chaos anyway. Fancy United have decided to be the aggressors here, whether or not they're on the attack and the defense. Labels don't stop them here whatsoever, Tash.
It works out so well with Jin's playstyle. I think that this is what he wanted to do. Play as aggressive as he can. He just wasn't able to earlier. And with PTC still getting one good Ficio and also Nizzy before Jin gets a 3 in his pocket. And I have to say, suddenly you see Jin really start to step it up because they don't want to get knocked out.
Yeah, it just wasn't working for Jin earlier on. He couldn't get any kills. He couldn't get any space. He was just getting taken down again and again. Fancy United have decided to take Myth on a ride, on a magical journey. And as soon as Myth wakes on up and opens their eyes here, Tash, they're not where they initially positioned. They're in a fist fight with their opponents breathing on their necks by this point.
Yeah, I'm really liking this aggressive Jin coming through forward and the way he plays with his teammate with the run it back. So we were just talking about it in the previous round, right? How exactly you can get value while with running with the run it back as well. Regardless, I think this might be a whole new different sort of story coming through here. But made in Thailand, every time they've had a tech pause or rather a tactical pause, they've been a little bit, they would change the way they play. It's not necessarily the biggest change that you would expect, but it is change or rather an adjustment altogether. I'm really curious to see what exactly they're going to do to kind of change it out. Regardless for this, how exactly can you punish a team for playing aggressive early? Wait for them to come to you.
I think for Main in Thailand, they just need to hold together. They can't afford to separate as of the moment. And perhaps that's what Fancy United wants to do in the first place. Now look at them go. All repel except for PTC. So similar scenario, but I think after that timeout, it's just a mental reset. Because they're getting hit by momentum here, Tash. They're basically being brought into the world of Fancy United. A bit of a haunt though, some great intel to notice where the bulk of Made in Thailand is coming from. And Fancy United a bit more prepared this time around.
Kadum just gonna be farming these orbs, and here comes the overdrive. We've seen all the havoc, all the chaos that he can do, but when exactly is the correct timing to pop it off? Regardless, for Beta, still holding on to the other side. It's already been smoked off. They know that they're over on the other side toward Arcade. So what they're gonna do, we're just gonna be swinging over forward, hoping that we don't see an Optic versus Boom Esports here to happen.
Way. No way. There's a trademark there. It's not gonna happen. PTC will prevent that from popping up on TikTok, on Reddit, and everything, and any kind of social media. The Boom Esports situation, yeah, that was rough. I remember I was casting that on the Filipino side too. Well, it's a pretty smooth transition for Made in Thailand.
That's a great fast lane, honestly.
It's a great fast lane, a great take, forcing the post plant early on into the round.
Yeah, it's fancy. For Jin, playing on this side, just waiting for the smokes instead. Playing together will be the right way to play it, but look at how much space Made in Thailand has had. They do have a Sim Beacon down just to give a little bit more firepower. PTC will be smoked out from the area. We also see the Nightfall come through as well, as we also see the Prowlers come through just to clear them out. It's a little bit hard to take that space. They know there's actually one inside of tower, and immediately we see Beta still pick off one, but Wukong with two with the Showstopper. Huge! And Diffuse does come through, but here comes the Rolling Thunder just to deny that from happening. But Mid, Kadum from the end, surprise! Here comes one, here comes two! But gets stopped at the end of the day! But that little thing, which is the Aftershock, will be denying that, and Clutch coming through from Conga Red.
Come on, Kadum, how can you do this? I can't believe he had the decision making to actually go for the guy on the spike. He was facing adversity, he flicked on over, he knew he was dead anyway, but that last bullet before he fell, that was crucial for the win. I thought it was Fancy's. It could have been Killer S, just becoming a serial killer in the round, but lo and behold, all hail Kadum by this point. The Aftershock you mentioned just to seal the deal. Made in Thailand a single round win away from just sweeping Fancy United and moving into the playoffs. And I see it, Tash. The aggressions, the fangs are bared. It's the Kadum show. And we are all just watching and witnessing the greatness that is Kadum now.
It's his world right now. He already picked up two. That's absolutely huge. And now, who exactly is on the defense here? Jin finds one, Jin finds two. What a great situation situation for them. Jin already with 3, the equalizer for the team, just making it happen. Kadoom on the other end, he wants to take it back. For now, he does get 3 already. He can take 2 more if he wants. Time is ticking, and Alone Fields is not moving. Kadoom doing Kadoom things, going on aggressive. Kadoom with the ace! What a great way to finish off the game as Made in Thailand goes 2-0 against Fancy United
That is
Esports.
not fair! That is not fair! He had the protagonist buff. He was the main character of the story, and no one beats the main character. An ace to end it after an unforgettable round prior to it. Come on, Kadoom.
He is so flashy. Kadoom is just absolutely flashy in that game. He knows exactly what he wants and what he wants to do. And what a great way to end the game. 2-0 for the night, going up against Fancy United. And perhaps for Fancy United, is the aggression was a little bit too much to handle when it comes to Kadoom being on the Neon.
I think it's such a big gamble for Fancy United's plan there on the defense. It worked out to shell shock Made in Thailand, but eventually Made in Thailand can make it to the spike, can make it to the site rather. Eventually they're being in position, and it just got so dicey there at the very end. It really was that last round prior to the final one, wherein you kind of knew that the winds were blowing in Made in Thailand's favor. Just that amazing kill against amazing aftershock. Even I'm still shocked after what we witnessed in those last 2 rounds. But overall, it's still the same problem for Fancy United moving forward into Fracture. They look lost playing this map compared to any other map they have in their pool. And they try. They give it the effort. They try to innovate. They're playing the Phoenix. This is the first time I've really seen someone try to do so. But you can see that the weaknesses versus more of the tried and tested composition from Made in Thailand, it is rearing its ugly head. Jin could not find value earlier on with the standard Fancy United playstyle. It took some extreme aggression just for him to start popping off. And in the second half, he did amazing, don't get me wrong. But it still felt like there are so many conditions for Fancy United to make things work. And Made in Thailand, it was just all in front of them for them to seize and for them to take these rounds.
I think the idea is for Jin, how he's able to play around his utilities would be the reason that he could be able to go forward. But the problem is when you're not being enabled by your teammates to get those information, it's a little bit hard for a Phoenix, because we all know that for a Phoenix and a Jet, their utilities aren't necessarily the utilities that last for a long time. It's very, very short. It's more, I would say, selfish than to help the team. Regardless, for Jin, I think for Jin, giving him an agent that is a lot more self-sufficient, like maybe Arena, or even going for like an initiator might be a little bit better, because there are so many different ways that he can play with agent compared to just running a Phoenix.
I think moving forward, Fancy United, it's a matter of sync. This is really the first outing with Jin. We see that there are those strides that they have made over the past few months, and they have become that top team in Vietnam for good reason. But this is just Made in Thailand's story to tell instead. PTC unlocking so much of the possibilities for the roster, and they have the talent right behind it. You have Beta, and you have someone like Kadoom. Just that Neon. It didn't even need the ultimate for so many rounds there, even though he had it, Tash.
He didn't really feel the need to use it. That's the thing. I think that he was just so confident coming in toward the end. But now 13-2, 13-6, sorry. Made in Thailand just showing everyone that they're miles ahead compared to the Vietnamese team, which is Fancy United. We did see a struggle a little bit more on the second half here for Fancy United, but not enough to stop the Kadoom doing Kadoom things on the Neon.
Yeah, this is a pain train waiting to happen. And Made in Thailand, they're one of our reps here in Clash of Nations. They're going to be moving on forward to the playoffs in the Thailand side, eliminating the final hopeful from the Vietnamese region here in the ESL. We'll check out the bracket. I believe it is updated already. And we'll see the final results actually. So Full Plans and Crit Esports actually still in progress, and I believe we'll be updating that on our socials when we get the result of that. But Made in Thailand,
I'm excited for that one.
You're excited for that one?
I
think I'm interested to see if Full Sense is still a powerful roster.
Oh, yeah.
With the loss of something like PTC. If they can make it, Crit Esports, good run. Let's see if they can get something done. But Made in Thailand, even better. Quickly wrapping up our broadcast and our 9th tier, Tash, basically.
Yeah, I mean that will be it for us tonight. four whole countries playing for tonight here: Indonesia and Philippines, after that Thailand and Vietnam. I have to say, these four powerhouses going up against each other is bringing up so many memories of VCT itself, and we love to see it because during this off season, I think a lot of players had been complaining about the lack of tournaments. They want to be able to play and earn still, and perhaps this is a sort of like learning situation for them where stakes are not as high as going into VCT at the beginning of the year.
I think it's also a good litmus test for things into the future. Ascension, if you're a franchise team looking to test out your roster, the off-season is for you. But here in Clash of Nations, one of the best things that we do at this tournament is to put these names forward, to make these unbelievable games be broadcasted, be shown, and well, to give a platform for some of the teams that might have been left behind by other counterparts to actually go the distance and go for the goal. We saw a while ago, right? You know, Dewa Esports, that was an amazing win over South Tilt Esports, and now you have the likes of Made in Thailand proving to be superior to Fancy United. What a day it has been here with Tash. What a run, and I'm just happy that we had those amazing games. But I think for now, it's time for us to call it a good night. Anything else you want to say before we sign on out?
We'll see you guys next week for another 2 countries to see who exactly will be moving forward to playoffs. Tash, Buddy, and Dax, good night.